Hey there, mother lovers. We are back with another episode of Last Call at McLaren'S. I am Josh Rayner here with my best bud, John. John, how you doing?
I'm good tonight. How about you?
Yeah, man, I'm great. It's a couple of really good episodes. I love this first one that we're gonna talk about here, and it's one of my favorites from season one because of a certain thing that's in there,
Yeah.
which we'll get to.
But talking though, it's crazy to think that these two pieces of a puzzle are in the same episode because I had never really thought about it.
Yeah. It's for those of you who are unaware, if you're, not paying attention, I don't know why you're watching. But if you're not, we are on season 1, episode 7, Matchmaker. This aired November 7th, 2005. Directed by Pamela Fryman, written by Chris Marcel and Sam Johnson. And the summary for this episode reads, Barney and Ted visit a matchmaker who tries to find Ted the perfect woman, while Marshall and Lily find a strange creature in their apartment. Woo! That's right, folks. It's time for the cockamouse.
Cockamouse!
A cockamouse. Can't get any better than the cockamouse. Unless it's a mouse-a-cock, but that's a whole different thing. So I had a little side note. Sometimes I like to do that about this episode. This episode is the first time that we learn about Marshall's real strong belief in the paranormal.
Yeah.
And this is something that comes up a lot throughout the series.
Yeah, but it's one of the things I really like about Marshall because some of his, is silly as some of his arguments can be, the study and the fact and the intellectual time he has put into it, it really dedicates just how strong of a believer he is.
Yeah, we find out later he's got binders and of stuff all over, all kinds of stuff.
And those I'm assuming the books are those TV series buy now, pay later books.
Probably, yeah.
Oh my god! And the one that really makes me laugh the most is his belief in Bigfoot, because it is so strong of a belief that he's willing to kill for that. I'm sure,
dude. He gets you see a little bit of it in here because in this episode, because Robin mentions Bigfoot, but and he kind of gets, you can see he gets defensive about it. I think it's hilarious. But are you ready to dive into this? Because I'm excited. Talk some cockamouse. All right, so we start the episode off. Future Ted telling his kids, that love is a science. The kids, they seem like they're kind of done with this. They get up to leave, but he keeps talking and they sit back down. I think this is the first time since the pilot that we've seen them get off the couch.
Yep.
And I'm curious if it's the last time we see them get off the couch, because really it's just the first season and some of the second season that we even have new footage of them,
Yeah.
So, but so we head over to the bar. Marshall and Lily come in. They're all freaked out. Lily takes Barney's drink, drinks it. And this happens a few times. This is a running gag throughout the episode. And they tell the gang about something that they saw in the apartment. They flash to the apartment. Marshall and Lily come home. They're making out. And they see something that freaks them out. And it's low to the ground. And they go running out the door. Marshall says he thinks it was a mouse. Lily thinks it was a cockroach. And I'm sitting here well, if Marshall thinks it's a mouse, then it's got to be a certain size. Because, mice are a certain size. If Lily thinks it's a cockroach, I've never seen a cockroach in New York City. But I've seen cockroaches here, where we live. And they're not that big.
No,
I would never confuse. But I know giant cockroaches exist.
Oh yeah.
I'm curious to find. I didn't look anything like this up. I'm curious to find out if they live in New York City at all.
Have you never seen Joe's Apartment?
I have, actually. Where is that? Is that set in New York City? I don't know. It's been a long time.
That movie just makes me laugh.
That movie does. Yeah, that shit's funny. That's probably, honestly, that was probably the first time I ever actually saw anything that was a cockroach. Before I ever saw one in real life was that crazy ass movie. Yeah, but so I'm curious because None of the ones that I've seen in real life, like in a place other than like the zoo, have been big enough to confuse with a mouse. Just
yeah.
and as we find out later on, there's more to it than that.
Well, I love that, like, as they're telling the story, Barney's picking on Marshall, and he's like, Marshall ran away from a cockroach. And he's like, it was a mouse. He's like, you're right. You're so brave. And it's like, I understand being afraid of a mouse, but not running out of the house afraid.
Yeah, no. Like, I mean, even a cockroach, it's like, you just go kill it.
Yeah.
A mouse, you try to catch it. You know what? Cockroach, though? Nah. You are not welcome in my house.
Nope.
A mouse I will try to, catch and release, but not a cockroach. Not even a little bit. I just
not even a little.
So we then see a news story of Robin interviewing Ellen Pierce, the woman who runs a dating service called Love Solutions.
Woo!
Yeah. Barney tells Ted that they have to do it so that they can pick up women. Ted, not interested at all. It's just another one of Barney's typical ploys, similar to, going to the airport, and that didn't work out too well for him. So I don't see why he'd want to do this one. Marshall and Lily still arguing over whether what they saw was a mouse or a cockroach. Marshall suggests, and this is one that me and you were talking about right before we went on air. He suggests that the only way it could be a cockroach is if it was wearing the skin of a mouse it just killed. Which, the thought of that freaks Lily out, and she takes Barney's drink yet again. As I said, we were talking about this, and just that image of a giant cockroach with the skin of a mouse, reminded me of the mountain man who's got the bear skin on him, and he's roaming around, and it is kind of a freaky ass thought. You know what I mean?
That is, especially because, like I said, in my head, I went further and I saw a cockroach with a knife stabbing a little mouse and skinning him himself. Like, I don't know why.
That's the sequel to Joe's Apartment.
Mm-hmm. Joe's Apartment 2. Things get dark.
Yeah, they do. Joe's Apartment 2, Electric Boogaloo.
And Joe's Apartment 2, Lights Out. Get it?
Lights Out. I like it. So back at the apartment, Ted is sitting on the couch reading. He hears a strange noise. Obviously, it's the cockamouse. Ted doesn't know that yet, but we know that. Especially if we've already seen the episode, know that. Then Barney bursts through the door, tells Ted that his boat, which he claims he got at a police auction, is sinking and about to capsize, and they have to go.
It's at a 45-degree starboard lean. Yeah,
they got to go. And then we hard cut to Ted and Barney at Love Solutions. It was all a trick. Barney got Ted there. You'd think that, at the point of them walking into the building, Ted would be like, this ain't the marina guy. But
at some point you have to just roll with it, because you realize, especially once you pull up. Like, it's either you're walking the distance home or you're just going to go in there and friggin' concede.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Even Ted says, as they're filling out the paperwork, he's like, okay, yeah, your boat's sinking. That was a good one.
Yeah, he does. So Barney, he's just there to scam his way into some sex. And Ellen sees right through it.
Right through it.
Right there. It doesn't help that he put Jack Package on his
dude, you pronounce it wrong. It's Jack Package.
Package. And for those interested, real quick, Jack Package. We'll talk more about that later.
We will talk more about that.
That's just a little tease. That's what we in the business we call a teaser. That's right.
That's what we in the other biz call just the tip.
Just the tip. That's right. So Ellen kicks Barney out, but tells Ted to stay. She can work with him. He's an architect. He's cute. She can do something for him. Okay. She tells him she just needs 3 days, and she'll find the woman he's gonna marry. Ted's skeptical, doesn't believe that he needs the help. It's a big pond out there. You know, it's New York City. There's 9 million people in New York City. Well, Ellen crunches the numbers and reveals in her own number crunching way that there's only 8 women out there for Ted.
8 women.
8 women. Now, this number got me thinking, because I thought it would have been really funny if throughout the show, Ted had like 8 serious girlfriends.
And, you know, I thought the same thing.
And he did not. He had like, I think it was 6. 5 if you don't count Karen, who comes back.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but and so I was a little bummed out that we didn't get a few more in there. And he had way too many girls who he like quote unquote dated throughout the show, but were like in serious relationships. So like either way, it never would have worked out to 8. He has a long list. I didn't realize. Like one of these days, I want to go over some of the girls on this list because it's crazy how many.
Barney says it perfectly when Quinn makes him quote the show. Like when she like tell me everything, and he like does the show in 60 seconds. Yeah. He's like, you know, Ted dated so and so, and then there was so and so, and he goes, Ted's a great guy, horrible closer. The most true statement about this show ever.
Yeah, it's very true.
But I realized something, and we'll talk about it when we get to that episode, but I realized something that really made me laugh when I was watching today's episodes.
Okay.
So, without trying to jump ahead too far, 2 episodes from now is the Thanksgiving episode. And that was one of the ones I had to watch today to get ready to do the recording today. Because for those of you who don't know, we record a couple of these at a time, and then Josh just releases them every Monday. So he's telling them the story of how he met their mother. And essentially, he ruins the ending of the show in the Thanksgiving episode, season 1. And I never caught it until today when I was rewatching. Because I told you this, and I didn't say this when we were recording. Whenever I go on a binge watch of How I Met Your Mother, I never start with season 1 because it's my least favorite season out of all.
Yeah.
But going back and watching season 1 to do this show with you, when I got to the Thanksgiving episode, he meets the girl in the strip club. What's her name? Do you remember?
Tracy. Yeah.
Her name is Tracy.
Yep.
Right there, in that he says it to the kids, that's how I met your mother. Mm-hmm. And they're like, what? And he's like, kidding. But he wasn't kidding because he met a woman named Tracy.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit.
They purposely, like Future Ted purposely uses that name because that's the name of their mother to trick. But we don't know that. So we don't know that her name is Tracy.
No, but I just thought that was really kind of funny. Yeah. Like I had never put 2 and 2 together enough to really think about that until today.
Yeah, that's cool. And I'm sure we'll dive into that, when we do that episode. So, all right. So at the bar, Marshall and Lily show up, visibly distraught. Lily takes Barney's drink a 3rd time. Man, she's just going to town on these drinks. We see a scene of them in the apartment. They see the thing. We don't have a name for it yet. And they try to kill it with some spray and a giant phone book. Now, for you kids out there listening or watching who don't know, who are like, what's a phone book? What is that giant yellow book that Marshall's hitting this thing with? Well, a phone book is a large paper book where everybody's phone number was printed in it. That's right. That was a thing that was a thing we had back in the day.
Back before your magical little, cellular device with a computer built into it,
It's true.
Look up that kind of shit for you.
We had tons of those all over the place. It's ridiculous. And I mean, okay, they do still make them, which is weird to me. Because before Dad died, he had a bunch of those in his apartment.
Oh yeah, dude,
it's ridiculous. He would always keep phone books all over the place. I'm just like, I didn't realize they were still. I haven't gotten a phone book where I live in the 5 years I've lived here.
Well, it's because for the most part now they don't deliver them door to door anymore.
Yeah,
but they put them in places like retirement homes or like assisted living facilities where Dad lives because people who live in them are genuinely older.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And they want to see. And he had his name was in the phone book. Like it was still in there, So
I mean, in all fairness, Dad's
that's
number
called a landline, kids. A landline with a phone that you plug into the wall. And
you would have to pick up a thing and dial a number.
Mm-hmm.
Again,
you couldn't play Angry Birds on this thing. It was literally just a phone.
I mean, theoretically, you possibly could have played Angry Birds on the phone, but
I mean, I feel like the only way I'm playing Angry Birds with like a landline phone is if I take the receiver, unhook it, and chuck it at a pig.
I'm not telling you what to do with your phone.
Glue some feathers on it and just chuck it at a pig. Then we have
one of the birds.
Yep, you got it. See, we're on the same wavelength here.
Ooh, and if you were really cool in like the late 90s, they had clear telephones that you could see all the internals. It was kind of cool.
They had like clear everything. That was a thing.
That was.
You could get a computer.
Telephones.
Yeah, yep, football telephone, all kinds of crazy stuff. Man, it's a bummer. We don't have cool stuff like that anymore. Just saying.
Kids in your fucking cell phones.
So he, like I said, they try to kill this thing, and it does not work. It just starts crawling away with the phone, giant phone book on it, and they they reveal that they did get a better look at the creature, and that it has the features of both a mouse and a cockroach.
Yep.
And what do they call it, John?
The cockamouse.
That's right, the cockamouse. Brilliant name, I gotta say.
Because you wouldn't call it a
mouse-a-cock ain't gonna work.
Mouse-a-cock. That's just dirty.
That's just dirty, absolutely. So Ted then comes in, and it has been 5 days since Love Solutions. And remember, Ellen promised him it would only be 3 days. So Ted being Ted, he's freaking out about it, of course. And Lily tells him not to Ted out about it. Don't Ted out about this. And then he's like, wait a minute. Did you just use my name as a verb? Yeah, don't Ted out. Kind of like don't Ted it up. All that jazz. Yeah. Have you ever done that to anybody or had it done to you?
Verbulate someone's name?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, you and I both did it for like a few months. We would to say to MX something.
That's true. That's very true. There's only a few people out there in the world who will understand that reference.
I'm sure they're not watching this show.
Probably not. So Lily tells Ted to give it a few more days. Yeah, he's like, okay, I'll give it a few more days. And by days, he means minutes, because 20 minutes later, Ted shows up at Love Solutions, and Ellen is freaking out. There's absolutely no women out there for Ted. None, John. None. Not even one.
Not even one.
Not even one woman.
Oh, but wait. There was one woman. But
there
she
was
taken.
Yes, that's right. So she shows Ted the computer and how there's none. She has to match you at like 7.0 compatibility or higher, and all there's like 4s and 5s, and then Ted spots a 9.6.
A 9.6.
Yeah, man, that's almost perfect. What about her? Well, it turns out 6 months ago she was already matched up, and so Ted's out of luck. Or is he? Ellen decides she's going to go to lunch. They leave. Shut the door. Then Ted sneaks back in and gets that woman's information. I had a little question here. Why the fuck did Ellen not lock the door?
Better question is, why didn't she close out the profiles and like the programming?
I mean, yeah, I agree with that as well. But like, Ted was right there.
But yeah, didn't even lock the door or anything. Like,
yeah, she just leaves.
Walked back into that office.
Yeah, it's not like he waited a few minutes. Like, she left, walked down the hall, and I assume there's probably really one way out of that building.
Probably.
Which means she knows that he didn't go with her. And he just goes right back in. It's like, come on, Ellen. Like, you're just asking for trouble now. Yeah, so. At the bar, Marshall draws a picture of the cockamouse that he and Lily are telling Robin and a group of others, including Carl, the bartender, about. Robin does not believe them, mentions Loch Ness Monster. I think she mentioned. Did she mention Bigfoot in this scene? I know she at least mentions Loch Ness Monster.
I was going to say,
Marshall,
I don't think she mentions Bigfoot in this scene. She might.
Marshall not happy though. But here, for those of you watching on YouTube, is the image of the cockamouse. Look at that creepy creature. I mean, I'll be honest. If I saw that thing crawling around my house, I'd probably get freaked out and try to smash it too. Just saying. I'd smash that thing as hard as I could because no, thank you. On the other side of the bar, Ted is telling Barney about the girl. She is a dermatologist, just like somebody else that we meet later on in this show. One called Stella.
Stella.
That's right. I'll have more about that later on. Ted decides to meet her, see what happens. He goes in talking about a mole that he's got. You know, he wants to get it checked out. You know, just an excuse. You know, he turns on that patented Teddy Boy charm and uses the info that he learned about her from Love Solutions.
Surprise!
Yeah, makes me feel fine. He loves brunch. Unless it's with phonies, you know, you don't want no phonies like Ted.
But I do want bacon.
Absolutely. Bacon on top of bacon. He then asks her out with the side of bacon. He then asks her out, but she tells him that, sorry, she's getting married this Saturday. And then he says, what about Friday?
I'm not going to lie. So part of this scene kind of upsets me.
Yeah.
It's one thing if you're going to like steal this woman's information illegally, mind you. What he did was an total invasion of privacy. Honestly, this is a Barney move.
Mm-hmm.
Like this was a total Barney move on Ted's point. This is one of the few times in the shows where I'm like, wow, Ted pulled some real creeper shit.
This is how you know Ted's not actually ready. Just like this ain't the kind of thing that you do when you're ready to settle down.
No, but like he put. I mean, like this is like serious creeper level bullshit that Ted does on this one. Like I'm like, fuck, man.
No, yeah, dude, I totally.
Like you said, he's like, well, are you free Friday? Like, dude, she just told you she's getting married to a guy.
Yeah,
like fucking calm your dick.
Though. Those two did just meet 6 months ago and they're already getting married. I was like, damn, okay.
I mean, when you know, you know.
I guess. It's like hot diggity dog. All right. So back at the apartment, Marshall and Lily are setting a trap for the cockamouse. You know, classic pot, you know, propped up, something under it.
This one makes me laugh because I love Robin here. You think the Roadrunner will fall for your trip? Or your,
your trap.
And I'm like, wow,
dude! It's absolutely like a Looney Tunes or a like a Tom and Jerry kind of trap. It really is. Yeah, you know. And so Robin just busts their balls about it, which I think is great. Then Ted comes in, tells the group what happened, and that he told her to call him if the wedding doesn't work out. Lily, not a fan of that.
No, visibly upset.
Yeah, she's not okay with that. Marshall comes out about to school Robin on some creature. We don't actually ever find out what he's going on about in this specific scene. I wonder if it's a Loch Ness Monster because it was mentioned in like the scene previous.
Well, Robin brings it up again during this one here where she's like, you know, this is where the Bigfoot gets mentioned, and this is where Marshall like. He really takes it. He goes off and gets the book.
Yeah. And then, you know, like I said, we don't really get to find out what, you know, he's going to say because he kind of stops himself, tells Ted that he got a message from Dr. O'Brien. And that's kind of where it goes. Ted listens to it. You know, she wants to talk to him about something. Ted thinks it's about, you know, maybe she's, you know, not going to get married. Maybe she changed her mind. You know, he's so self-indulgent about it that there's nothing else in his mind that he thinks it could be, you know. And so he decides to go down there. Robin and Barney leave, mocking Lily and Marshall. And as soon as they leave, the trap goes off. Yep. Marshall says he's going to bring it to a friend of his at the university lab. And then we head over to the doctor's office. Ted walks in. Dr. O'Brien tells him that there's a problem with the mole that he's got and that it should be removed. This is definitely not what Teddy Boy thought was going to happen. He was very surprised at this. So much so that he still asks her if she's getting married. And it's like, dude, really? Like, come on, man. And then he spills the beans about seeing her profile from Love Solutions and then tries to convince her that he's the right one for her. Yeah. So this got me, this whole thing got me thinking. I am curious if this character was supposed to be what we got with Stella.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Maybe. Yeah.
Like maybe originally this character was supposed to come back in a later season. You know, her marriage didn't work out. Her and Ted start doing all this stuff, you know.
Maybe.
And then she leaves him for that guy.
That would have been kind of a neat turnaround.
Right? Because if you look at it, you know, she's a dermatologist, just like Stella. She looks like she's that kind of blonde, straight hair. She kind of looks like Stella. And I'm like, I'd love to talk to the showrunners and be like, was this character supposed to come back? And you just for some reason you couldn't bring this specific character back, and so you just essentially copied her and made Stella. Because
I mean, yeah.
Otherwise, it feels to me like Karma is just paying close attention to Ted here, because, you know, Ted ready to break up an engagement to, you know, involving a dermatologist, and then that same thing happens to him.
Yeah.
Stella,
I mean, theoretically, that could be kind of more what happened too, because like Stella's one of the major reasons why Ted really starts to settle down. Yeah. And then like he gets fucking shafted in that whole instance.
Tell me how cool it would have been to see Dr. Sarah O'Brien come back and be this Stella character. I feel like it would have worked really well, because like we would already had this past, you know, stuff with her where we knew, you know, okay, she got married. Obviously Ted, you know, knew, she knew that Ted was interested. They had this almost perfect off the charts compatibility. And then you get that whole thing where they're about to get married. She leaves for the ex who we know about then, you know, because there's more backstory there for it. I think it would have been kind of awesome.
I think that would have been.
And I don't know how, because like we probably wouldn't have had, there's no probably, we wouldn't have had the kid part of it, because the Sarah and this dude were together for 6 months.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so she wouldn't have had a kid the age of her, you know, Stella's kid. So they obviously would have had to have changed some of that stuff, but I don't know. I think it would have been interesting. I would have, in another world, right? If we're watching Loki, it's like in another timeline.
Yeah.
I think it would have been interesting. So Ted has a mini freak out because he doesn't think that he'll ever find love. But Sarah talks him down. And then we head over to the university where Marshall reveals the cockamouse to his friend. But to his dismay, the pot is empty.
Empty.
Dun, dun, dun.
And we never see that friend again.
Why?
He probably fucking killed himself.
Right? He's probably like, that motherfucker Marshall just ruined my career.
Career!
I told everybody about this thing, and now I've been embarrassed. I've been shunned from the university. You know, that's how it works. See, those are the stories we want to hear. The side stories of how Ted and Marshall destroyed people's lives.
At least once a week.
Yes. So we go back to the apartment. Lily and Robin see the cockamouth. Robin finally sees it, believes, obviously, because it's right there in front of her eyes. And Robin throws her martini on it. I don't know what time of day it is, but, she's...
Doesn't matter what time of day it is.
Right? It's 5 o'clock somewhere, right? Isn't that what they say? I mean, I'm just saying. So Marshall runs in, grabs it, and chucks it out the window. And they're like, it just starts flying. Suddenly, this thing could fly. And they're like, it's so majestic. This majestic creature. And then it turns around and starts flying back toward them. They slam the window shut, and it just crashes into the window. And that scene, to me, just that shot, is hilarious. Because it's obviously just like some dude off screen just chucking this whatever they used at the window. It's just hilarious to me. Well, what was your I don't know if you remember the first time you watched it, but do you remember what your reaction to it suddenly flying was?
I was just like, it made me wonder how it could fly, though, because like cockroaches nor mice fly, so like,
yeah, well, I mean, they can't fuck either, but hey, there we go. Who knows, man?
Yeah,
who knows? It's an abomination of science. That's all you need to know. So then we head back to Love Solutions. Ted tells Ellen that he wants his money back. Ellen is spiraling because she can't find him a match. Her 100% rate, perfection rate is just out the window. And Ted, at this point, Ted has to talk her down, which I think is interesting. He kind of has this kind of like self-realization with himself that, he will find love one day because he believes that he will. And Ellen says that she'll continue the search. And that's where the episode ends.
I love what Ted says to her, though. Ted's like, you are going to do it. And now you're going to do it for free.
Which I think is great. So I had a little fun fact here about this episode. Ellen, she's looking for a match for Ted. And she sets the parameters at 5 years younger, 5 years older. Well, the mother is 6 years, 4 months, and 20 days younger than him.
Oh.
So she would never have been in that parameter search. So I don't know if she was single in the first season in 2005. I don't remember if they revealed that or not, but no matter what, she was not destined to be found yet.
That's crazy,
right? I thought that was a cool little tidbit. All right,
you're
a tidbit. All right, so that's the episode 7, Matchmaker. John, what are your final thoughts on the episode?
I mean, it's an okay episode. It really sets the guidelines for like you kind of sometimes don't know what to expect from the How I Met Your Mother crew.
It's true.
I mean, you got something that was like completely like a made up thing in this episode with the whole cockamouse, while still dealing with Ted's bullshit whininess and sometimes Barney like actions.
It's true. I do love the cockamouse portion of this episode. It's a fantastic. I don't know. I love the cockamouse.
I think cockamouse is great. Like I said, like you had said before we started recording, though. I don't ever think I realized that both of those were the same episode. Yeah,
because I mean, unlike some previous episodes, this one doesn't mirror like the A and B story don't mirror each other in any way.
No,
they're just completely different. You have Marshall, Lily, and Robin doing one thing, and you've got Ted and Barney doing another thing. Essentially, is what's going on here. And it's just two different. That's why I didn't realize that they were in the same episode, because there's really zero connection.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's one of the few times where like there's also like, I mean, I know it's because the stories don't overlap, but like the gang is essentially Barney's the only one who's doing things in both sides. Yeah. Like Robin really does interact with Ted in this episode.
I mean, a few times like when they're all at the bar for whatever reason. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, really, it's Robin who kicks off the Love Solution thing because she's interviewing Ellen at the beginning of the episode. But past that, It's really not there. So yeah, it's I like the love solution stuff. It's not one of the great storylines. You know what I mean? It's just a setup for more. Yeah. I mean, and like I said, it's not bad or anything like that. It's just a setup for more Ted stuff. I mean, that's all it is, really. And I mean, it does come back later on. Both parts of this episode, both sides of this episode, do come back in future episodes, which I think is cool. But I feel like I'd probably like the love solution storyline more if Sarah was Stella, you know, because then it would really have a deeper connection.
You should see if you can reach out and find out if there's any validity to what you think.
Yeah, I'm going to see if I can hit him up on Twitter and see what happens.
I mean, that's, like you said, that's, I mean, especially considering both names are S names.
Yeah.
I mean, the only real difference is, like you said, the kid. And that could be explained, like, with an adoption or something like that, or
you know, it could just be, she could be gone. Like, maybe there's just no kid and they just rewrite stuff in the story.
Yeah.
You know, that's what they probably would have done.
But I mean, like, that's just too coincidental.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So that's the episode. But now it is time for a segment that we do every time while we have it, called Barney's Blog. Dun, 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 dun. I don't know. I feel like I should come up with a jingle for this thing, man. I don't know. I mean, maybe. I'll reach out to Neil Patrick Harris. I'm like, Neil, buddy, I need a jingle. I think I might see if I can just like get some some sound clips of him like saying suit up and some other things, and I'll make a weird little jingle out of it. I think that could work.
Fair enough.
We'll see. Keep an eye out on a future episode. One of these days, there will be a jingle for that thing. All right. So this edition of Barney's blog is entitled Barney's Mail Sack. That's right. And it includes a couple of Dear Abby type emails where, a woman and a man both write into him for love advice. And he, you know, in his Barney fashion, writes them back, kind of misogynistic to the woman. Well, really to both. But, giving the guy not great advice. And then they show the questionnaire that I gave a little teaser of earlier, which is right here, which I think is great. It's dated November 1st, 2005. Jack Pacage. And then, he just kind of goes through some of the things that I found funny in this. Question 2, have you ever cheated on a partner? He checked no, but put it in quotations, which I thought was funny. Are you comfortable around children? He originally checked no, but crossed it off to check yes, because, saying no would probably not get him as many dates.
I think the one that really makes me laugh is number 3. Are you best friends with someone of the opposite sex? And he put no. That's a slap at Lily.
Yeah, I agree. But he knows how to play the game. You know what I mean? He absolutely knows how to play this game the way it needs to be done. And if he had been able to actually get in to Love Solutions, I think he would have probably wound up with several picks. You know what I mean? I really do. We had a few other interesting ones. Favorite holiday, Mother's Day, which I think is interesting. But one of the ones that really made me laugh was, what is your guilty pleasure? It says reading poetry at the beach, on a horseback, at sunset, by the fire. It's like, wow, dude, he just ticked all those boxes. And then in one word, so at the bottom, number 9, in one word, describe yourself, hung. It's like he just kind of stopped trying to be that sensitive kind of guy and just went full force Barney on that question.
Number 7, though, bro. What do you hate the most? Armageddon the movie.
Yes, Armageddon the movie.
What does the little shit around number 10 say? So how many partners have he had in the last 3 years? And he's got 4 ? And then there's something really tiny written down there.
Let me see if I can. Oh, it looks like names. That in the first one looks like names, and then he kind of scratched it off, and then the one on the other side looks like it starts off on the top. It says 2003, and then it's a bunch of hash marks. And see, and there's 20, 40, 45. Looks like there's about 48. I'm assuming just for 2003. And so then he crosses that off and just writes 4 ? Yeah, classic Barney. And I'm so happy that they put the questionnaire in the blog, because I love just seeing that little the attention to detail on the stuff like that they do in the blog is hilarious to me. Yeah, and so that there was Barney's blog for this week's episode 7 of season 1, Matchmaker. Ooh. John, let everybody know where they can find you on the interwebs.
Find me on the interwebs at this right here. Simply saying at J1 on Twitter, also on Facebook. Not a hard person to find, really. You can throw me a line anywhere. You can find me, shoot the shit with me. We'll have a conversation about anything. Josh, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at JP Raynor. That's JPRAYNOR, or right down here at Movie Blog Merc. That is the Twitter page for my site, Merc with Movie Blog, where you are watching this right now. Merc with Movie Blog, the YouTube channel. What? But if you're listening to it, you are listening to it thanks to Last Call HIMYM. That's right. That is the handle for our socials for Last Call at McLaren's, Twitter, and really I think it's just Twitter and Anchor. Last Call HIMYM. Find us wherever you can. We're around. I'm always doing something, willing to talk some How I Met Your Mother. We love it. You love it. So join us for this awesome conversation. All right, John. What else you got for him?
You don't have to go home, but you can't listen here.
That's right, folks. Catch you later.